Okie dokie, let's get it going. We have test review unit 6, and we're going to get started with the first problems. What are we going to talk about? That is a good question. What are we showing here? Hold up a second. Alright, so let's go here. Again, let's talk about mid-segments. Alright, I'm not going to worry about the parallel lines, but you should know why we were so worried about the parallel lines. So that way we know what corresponds to what. Okay, so like, because MN and LK are parallel, we know those correspond. So keep in mind that the long segment is going to be twice the short segment, or the short segment is half the long segment. In other words, if I say these numbers 17, 13, and 24, to go from the short to the long, I need to multiply by 2. So 17 times 2 is 34. 13 times 2 is 26. And if I wanted to go from the long segment to the short segment, I would divide by 2. 24 divided by 2 is 12. Now, if I wanted to find the perimeter, I would just add up all three of those, and that would give me the perimeter. And there you go for those. And there you go for those. All right, now what do we do next? Okay, so for the next ones, on these types of problems, solve for x, you need to multiply by 2. So keep that in mind. So 2 times this is 6x plus 11 is equal to the 9x minus 14. And if you have these switched around, that's okay. Ooh, that's an ugly 14, but you get the idea. Variables to the left, numbers to the right. Minus 9x, negative 3, minus 11. Did I copy? Oh, goodness gracious, I am so slow here. Hold up a second. Let's correct my mistake and go from there. Oops. Okay, so I was right in saying multiply by 2. But again, I must be a little bit more tired than I thought. But 3 times 2 is 6. 11 times 2 is 22. That would be very helpful, wouldn't it? Yes, it would, sir. Thank you for trying to correct your mistakes and not make so many mistakes. All right, anyways, minus 6 minus 9x here gives me negative 3x. Minus 22 gives me negative 36. So divide, and you got x equals 12. Okay, and that one just asks for x. Now on this one here, on number 4, notice this one says find DH. So yes, you're still going to find x. So 10x plus 6 is equal to 15x minus 29. Variables to the left, numbers to the right. That's going to give me negative 5x. And minus 6 here would give me negative 35. So x is equal to 7. But now you got to plug it back in here and say 15 times 7 minus 29. And when you do that, you should get 76. So DH here, because DH, we're looking for that one, is 76. Okay, so kind of keep that in mind and go from there. Now, on these next ones, you've got to remember, like for number 5 here, that these two are corresponding. So that means they're equal to each other. So here I would have 13x minus 15 is equal to 4x plus 21. So that moved variables left, numbers to the right. 9x would be 36. So x is equal to 4. And you're done. And you're done. But on number 6, these are adding. So this is 11x. 3 plus 8 is 11. And then 17 minus 46, which would be 29, is equal to 180. Okay? Add 29 to 180. And then divide by 11, and you should get 19. So those are pretty easy, and it should be just like that. Oopsie, sorry. I'm trying to do something here. So you kind of get the idea. Now, keep in mind, what this section was dealing with mid-segments, and you can tell yourself and put it on your formula sheet, go from small to large, times 2, large to small, divide by 2, corresponding angles are equal, and then like angle 1 and angle 2 is equal to 180, or angle 3 and angle 2 is equal to 180. Okay, something along those lines, however you may remember. Alright, I'm going to be honest, on number 7, I did not put a problem like that on the test, so you don't even have to worry about that. I decided to make that a little bit easier. So let's move on to, say, angle bisectors and perpendicular bisectors. Okay, so on these next ones, we are going to say, again, perpendicular bisectors or angle bisectors, you're going to set them equal to each other. So solve for x. Now, for the pre-AP, Okay, CP, you're done right here at this. Pre-AP, you would have to plug it back in for the x and find the missing, or the value, the length of the segment that they're asking for. So in this case, 3 times 6 is 18. 18 plus 39 is 57. So the final answer for number 8 here is 57. But for my CPs, you would only have to give me x equals. Okay, so on number 9, we want to do something similar. So here I'm going to say 4x plus 2 is equal to 7x minus 37. So that would give me variables to the left, numbers to the right. Negative 3x is equal to negative 39. And guys, if you get a decimal or a fraction, you probably did something wrong. Check your work. And then x is equal to 13. And again, this is where you would be done for the CPs. For the pre-APs, yes, I'm going to ask you to figure this out. So I want to find LMN. If I plug this 13 in here and say 13 times 2, 13 times 4, which should give me 52, plus the 2, which gives me 54. So if this is 54, this is 54, so LMN would be 108 degrees. Okay, and so there you go. Okay, know your definitions. You should know which one that could be all part of the answer sheet or your formula sheet. So you should know those. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Make sure you fill up what information you need to. I've discussed that, like which sides are equal. Notice how I've got them color-coded. Anything else you may need to add in there. Don't forget the Pythagorean Theorem, the a squared plus b squared. How do you recognize the hypotenuse? That type of thing. So when I look at something like this, I can fill it in. So again, what I would do is plug in the numbers where they belong. So 19, 21, 30. Okay, so again, 19, YU would also be 19. All those middle ones would be 21. Divide by 2, and that's 15, 15. Y'all should know those things. Now, that should give me SZ. SZ is going to be, I can't squeeze it over here to the side here, but SZ would be 21. YU would be 19. WT I have, which is 15. So I got that information already. The one I don't have is ZY, and I need to find ZY here. So that means I'm working with these two numbers, 21 and 19. And then the question becomes, do I add or subtract? And keep in mind, this right here is a hypotenuse. So that means I'm going to subtract those two and take the square root. And when I do that, so I get here square root of 21 squared minus 19 squared, and I get 8.9. So this one would be 8.9, and I'm not going to round off. I'll leave it like that. I'm not going to give you a problem like number 15, so we'll move on from that. Okay, so here's number 16, and on number 16, let me back this up a bit and kind of get you from here. So right here, I should know, because this is an in-center, those two next to each other are going to be the same, and then all these little sides right here are going to be that. And so I can answer like, what is, I'm trying to see here, what is SV? SV would be 7. QS would be, where is QS? 5. And then I need for QV and PS. Okay, so QV is right here. So I'm going to use 7 and 5. And that's going to be added because I'm looking for the hypotenuse. So when I do 7 squared or 5 squared plus 7 squared, doesn't matter the order there, I get 8.6. So this one would be 8.6 approximately. And then for the next one, PS, I'm going to use 29 and 7. But that one is a hypotenuse because 29 is on that diagonal. 29 and 7 squared. And I'm going to get 28.1. I'll let that play through. So that would be approximately 28.1. Okay, so again, those should hopefully be easy. And I'm not going to do a problem like number 15. Alright, the centroids. Make sure you add those in there. Knowing that from going from small to big, it's basically when do you need to multiply by 2, when you need to divide by 2. And again, if you go back to here, add it to your formula sheet. If you go from short to long, you multiply by 2. If you go from the long piece to the short, you divide by 2. If you have the total from vertex to the side, you need to divide that by 3, and that will give you the short, and you go from there. Okay, so for this last bit, I'm just going to make sure y'all know, again, if I want to determine if these are triangles, always add the 2 smallest ones. So I always add the 2 smallest ones. So if I'm like looking at 3 lengths, A, B, and C, A plus B has to be larger than C, period. If it's not, it's a no. If it's equal, it's a no. If it's larger, then the answer is yes, those could become a triangle. For these, don't forget, to find the third side, it's like if I say, here's these 2 numbers, B minus A has to be between B plus A. In other words, add the 2 numbers, subtract the 2 numbers. The smaller, the subtracting answer is on the left, the adding answer is on the right. That's it. Okay, so you can see those. That's not that hard. Order least to greatest, again, keep in mind that the angles or the sides go to the opposite angles. So in this case, that tells me that. Okay, something went wrong there. Let's try that again. There we go. I was like, what happened here? What's going on here? Okay, so you can see those answers. I'm not going to have one like 31. I do have one like 32. And that really does it, guys. I mean, hopefully this should be a fairly simple test. Make sure you're prepared. If you're not quite sure of something, make sure hopefully you can ask questions. Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you so much for your time. Y'all take care. Have a good day.